Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I'm here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce. How you doing, man?
Hey, David. How are you doing tonight?
Oddly resigned. Honestly. The Oilers really got beat handily in that game, and there hasn't been justice in every game this series. The Oilers should have been up 3-1 in this series, I think. But there was justice tonight. The Canucks were easily the better team. They won 3-2. And on the last goal, I mean, it was all the Oilers, many of the Oilers' best players who made really critical mistakes. You can't blame this on the goalie or the lack of scoring from the fourth line or the other lines this game. The big guys on this team, this is pinned to them, this loss. And it's going to be interesting to see how they respond. Bruce, it was 3-2 for the Canucks. JT Miller scoring with a minute 30 seconds left or 40 seconds left in the game, whatever it was, right in the last minute at least. And 32, yeah. And let's get after it. 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers. 1 conundrum, which we haven't even discussed yet. We'll have to think of that. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. One of the conundrum is, what do the Oilers have to do to turn this around right now? And so anyway, we will do 2 bad things each because it was that kind of night. What's your good thing though, Bruce?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the second and last Oilers goal scored late in the first period when their fourth line came through with a big goal literally 23 seconds after the third line had given up a goal. The fourth line responded with a terrific play by 3 fairly fast veterans, and first of all, Brett Kulak winning a puck in his own zone, and actually winning a puck battle, which may have been the last one of the night, and getting it up to Connor Brown, and he just scooted. Vancouver defenseman Soucy, I think, was beat in the Oilers zone, and Brown just scooted past him and flew up the ice 2-on-1. Janmark came flying up on the other side, Matthias Janmark, and Brown made a really good pass, and Janmark made a shot. All of these things don't happen that often, but I think they said it was Janmark's first goal in 37 games. Is that right? Long time, anyway. And a very good time to get one. A great response to Vancouver's first tying goal. And I thought when they got out of the first period with the lead, and I thought the first period they were actually not bad, that they were in a pretty good spot. But, man, the whole game turned thereafter.
That was I think the second really great play of the period by that line, correct? There had been a previous play. I can't remember how it originated, but I remember the puck going, I think it's like 12 minutes into the game. The puck goes from, I think.
Yeah, Connor Brown was a 4-way passing play.
Correct. And Brown gets a great shot.
To Kulak again, to Derek Ryan, and he fed a short pass back, and Brown was alone, eyeball to eyeball with Seeloffs, and didn't make a great shot, unfortunately. But the 3 passes that set him up were very nice. And, they had the puck in the right end, and they were,
I will say he got the shot on net.
Oh yeah,
so that was
he
good.
Didn't miss the net.
Ryan McLeod had there was a couple of moments where guys might have missed the net. Hey, but listen, this game wasn't close. The grade A, did I say the grade A shots 20-8 for Vancouver over Edmonton? 20-8, and the 5 alarm shots, Bruce, were 10-4. This game was brutal for the Oilers, man. They just got outplayed so badly in this game. So which leads me to my good thing, which is Calvin Pickard. There was only one reason this game wasn't 6-2, 5-2. I mean, the expected goals would be 5-2. So there's only run
By
reasons
our method, yeah, absolutely.
by our method. And it was Pickard. He was just fantastic. He made big saves after big saves. Now, on the first goal, he was at fault. He got on the wrong side of the screen, looking on the wrong side of the screen, and he missed an outside shot that a goalie is expected to save in the NHL, expected to make a save on, and he let that one in. So one mistake by the Oilers. But after that, you can't. The second one was turnover, and he can't get there in time, right in front of his net. And the third one, I mean, we're going to talk at length about these goals against, but there's no chance for him, especially on the winning goal, like just zero chance. So, but Bruce, in the second period, he was so confident and so calm, making plays in the net, big stop after big stop, all kinds of action. I think the grade A shots in the second period were 11-1 in the end for Vancouver, and he was there in front of all of them. So I did I've already done a post on Calvin Pickard, and we'll just go through some of the comments, just quickly, some of the comments that people made. So this is after the second period. Oilers fan Kirsten says, Pickard, the only player that wants to win this game. I feel effing sick. Dan Tenser, the former sports announcer who's now a hockey scout, said, however this turns out, cheers to Cal Pickard. He's the only reason this one is all square, giving his team a chance with a huge performance. And here's one from at Stu the Penguin, who said, McDavid struggling to entire team except for Pickard. And that's how it felt, especially after the second period. The Oilers came on a bit in the third period. They certainly weren't caved in on the grade A chances against in the third period. It was kind of even. And I had the feeling like, well, maybe they'll fluke one off here. They're not getting any really good chances,
Right.
any really great grade A shots. They're not getting any 5-alarm shots in the third period, but maybe they're going to get a lucky goal and they'll find a way to win a game that they should lose, but not to be. Bruce, Calvin Pickard, he'll be in next game. I don't have any doubt. And man, he just was spectacular.
Yeah, I had it figured that Pickard had the net for the third loss, right? Whether it was in game 4, game 5, game 6, that whenever they lost, he lost the game, that Skinner would get the next game, but I'm not so sure based on what we saw there. And I'm not feeling very comfortable, frankly, about the situation that the team's got itself into at this point.
No, I think there are odds of winning this series. I mean, Bruce, they have found a way to lose this series. This is the Oilers. We've seen it a lot. Until they start finding ways to lose, they're not going to win. And they found a way to lose this series between goaltending and mistakes, defensive mistakes at key moments, especially, in this game. This was obviously a winnable game. It's 2-2 in the last minute, and they found a way to lose it. So what can you say? Let's move on to our bad things. What's your bad thing? First bad thing.
Yeah, well, Edmonton did not get much from their top players tonight. And I singled out Evan Bouchard in the fairly early going because his passes just were not clicking at all. Seemed like several of his passes either went straight to Vancouver or were deflected by Vancouver. And, he just didn't have the right weight, the right timing. And normally it's something he's really almost impeccable at on his good nights. And he just didn't have that touch or feel for this game. And it really came to bite him on the 2-2 goal when he had full possession behind his own net. He just simply was too slow to move either himself or the puck, and he got overpowered behind the net. And it came out in front for a fourth line, pounded in through a scramble somehow goal, but it was largely because Bouchard, he turned the puck over from a full possession into a grade A 5-bell 5-alarm scoring chance against, and it was not his night. He got burned again on the game winner to some extent, in that he didn't really have his man Elias Pettersson in front, who deflected the centering pass off the post, as it turned out. And the power play, and again, this is all the star players were on the power play, not just the one, but the power play flat out stunk for the first time in 10 playoff games after scoring at least one goal in every game. They barely got a shot in this game. 3 shots on net, 5 power play opportunities. Just a really brutal show. And they just didn't seem to have any cohesion or unity or any sort of control over the puck like they've been showing in other games where they got the puck on a string. Well, tonight the string was...
Vancouver was just coming after them, Bruce.
Yeah, Vancouver played harder on them defensively, and you know, I mean, we're singling out this player or that. Simply put, Vancouver was the better team in all 3 zones, and it wasn't close really in any of those zones.
The only Oilers who seem to be winning a lot of battles, well, there's only like Dylan Holloway seemed to be winning battles.
Yep.
Brett Kulak, I thought, was winning battles, and after that,
short list.
Yeah, well, the entire fourth line was winning battles. I'd say Warren Foegele maybe won some battles, although I wouldn't actually put him on the list. DeHarnay, like there's a few guys who are okay-ish, but other than that, it is a very, very short list. Very, very short list. Bruce, and my bad thing is it might be the first time this year, but Coach Chris Knobloch. And I'm going to say this for basically for the Oilers needed, when they didn't have a lot of energy, they needed to go, I think, with 4 lines. They needed to have a steady rolling to be able to go with 4 lines. And they have a 4th line, which we've already detailed, scored a goal. Bruce, and they had 2 5-alarm chances in the first period. They have a 4th line, which is going. Ryan, Connor Brown, and Matthias Janmark. Those guys are playing hockey. They are getting it done. And they should be, you know, so Ryan plays 9:46. Connor Brown plays 9:19. And Matthias Janmark 9:41. And so and a couple of those minutes each come on the PK. This line should have played 11 minutes, 12 minutes at even strength. They were one line that could take it to the Canucks and change the energy of the game. Why aren't they playing? Why aren't they out there? I don't know why. And on the other hand, so Corey Perry played the least amount of time, 7-11. First, all due respect to Corey Perry, who has been a fantastic NHL player. He's a Hall of Fame NHL player. He's done. He can't keep up in this series. He hasn't been close. And the first goal against, case in point, how does he not block that shot? I mean, it's Carson Soucy. He's not Quinn Hughes shooting it. And he just has to be agile enough and quick enough to get out and block that shot. And he wasn't. He just couldn't. He can't do it because he's just a step slow all game long. I mean, he did have one wraparound chance in the third period, so I'll give him credit for that. And he can do that now and then. Nice play on the boards in the offensive end. He is not close to getting it done. He is an anchor on his line. And it totally screwed up the Oilers not having a third line that was functional. Between McLeod and Foegele, I didn't think they were particularly bad. They were okay-ish.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't look bad. They need somebody who can play with them. Perry can't. He's not even close. So he shouldn't have been, and it's been apparent for some time, Sam Gagner or Sam Carrick should have been in this game. And Knobloch didn't pull the string on it. He didn't make a tough call, which would have been a tough call, but it's one he needed to make, and it's one he definitely, and he will make. After the game, he's going to be changes. Well, there's not a lot you can make. There's Sam Carrick and Sam Gagner and Adam Ernie and Philip Broberg. So
Adam Henrique
if he's healthy.
He skated today, but
he did. Yeah, he's been skating every day, but I don't think he's that close. But he's probably a better player right now than Corey Perry. So that's a change we're going to see, because he started to be, they put Janmark out there for a few of his shifts. Like, they started to not trust Perry. Anyway, every player in the NHL comes to an end, but this was a big game. You can't have
39th birthday today, Kevin or David. That's a pretty That's a pretty
Advanced
big number
stage. Advanced stage for an
in
NHLer.
this league. Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, he on that goal, not only could he not get in the lane, but he couldn't clear the puck immediately before that, right? He had a chance to get it out, and he just cleared it as far as Susie.
So I want to ask, am I being too harsh here? Do you agree that he should not have been in this game? Like I think we agree he shouldn't be in the next game, but should he have not been in this game? Because I've been writing it for like some people have been saying it for longer than me. I've been saying it for about the last couple games. I think that he shouldn't, it's time to make a change.
I honestly don't think he's looked particularly good since he took that header into the end boards. I think it was late in the regular season.
Uh-huh.
And he went crashing hard into the boards. He took a penalty on the play because he wiped somebody else out, but he got the worst of it. And he got up and limped off. And I joked to you on a podcast that night that he's not likely to get any slower. But perhaps the flip side of that is he was the one guy on the team that couldn't even afford to lose 0.1 of a step, because he's already, the slowest boat out there. Yeah. Anyway, I don't particularly want to dump all over him.
I don't want to,
honestly,
because
any of
there's
the
so many
depth
bad
players
players
tonight,
including
including
so many of
all
the
of their
good,
top players.
all of their top players, every single one of their top players was found lacking. Did you
Yeah.
do you have another bad thing? Because you were going to do the power play and the what was the other one that you mentioned?
Oh, yeah.
Bouchard, and you mentioned you kind of coupled them. But do you have another one? Do you have another one to sneak in there?
Oh, well, getting the odd one here and there. Perry was yours, or no? Coach K was yours.
Coach K was mine, and
blocking.
I went up. But why don't I go right to my next one? And if you can think of another one,
Go for it.
It's the winning goal, because it is a devastatingly bad play, featuring mental errors by probably the Oilers' best forward and the Oilers' arguably their best defenseman made mental errors on this play. And it's got to hurt these guys. They've done so much. They've given so much. They've made so many great plays. But man, they made some bad ones on this one. Now, it starts with Hyman not really getting the puck very deep. Maybe we haven't blamed him yet, but that was part of it. But it's kind of a end of the game play. He just dumps it out and it's down by the other team's bench. Then Mattias Ekholm decides to change. Now, Mattias Ekholm has been out there for some time. He was out there for about 30, 40, 50 seconds, and then there was a whistle. If he was tired, he should have got off then. I think it was about a 40-second shift before then.
Yeah.
And he had done quite a bit. There had been 2 rushes into Edmonton, and I watched it again to try to make sense of this. So he had done quite a bit. He had been moving pretty fast. Maybe he should just got off the ice then. But if you're staying out, I mean, I think he stayed out for about 15 or 20 seconds.
He had a 15-second shift from the face-off in Vancouver territory to Edmonton sort of appearing to have possession just inside their own blue line. He decided to step over the boards. And it's one of those changes when they come that soon. The guy on the bench isn't necessarily expecting he's going to be jumping out there. Like, it's like, what? Oh, yeah, it's sort of this slight delayed reaction. And you could hear some banter on the bench that
you could hear Ekholm yell that he's coming off, Bruce. I heard him yell, and then it's like Nurse comes out, and by the time Darnell Nurse, so Hyman shoots it down, and Vancouver comes right back at him. And by the time Darnell Nurse was on the ice, Vancouver was already had a step on him and was breaking in the zone. If Ekholm had been there, there would have been no chance that piddling play ends up in a goal, because they didn't have a good entry, and he would have got to the puck first and he would have got it out. So Mattias Ekholm made a massive mental error, making a bad line change. And
all the guys you wouldn't expect a mental error from, that's high on the list. Yeah,
just play the rest of the game, man. So Darnell Nurse then goes for the puck as it's coming in, and he's in some ways the least to blame. There's a kind of a hard centering pass, which you'd hope he'd cut out, but he fails to cut out. It's kicked on net then, a backheel kick, or kind of by Elias Pettersson. And on that play, Evan Bouchard's a little slow. If Bouchard's on his body and wiping him out the second he touches the puck, he's not making a play either. But he has an opportunity because Bouchard's slow of making a fancy pants kick play, which goes off the post. The rebound goes to steaming in, unchecked, because Connor McDavid at that point is puck watching. He's watching the puck the whole way. He's not looking for the danger man coming into the zone. It's McDavid's man Miller who scores the goal, and McDavid's not close to him. So a mental error by Connor McDavid, not shoulder checking, not watching for the danger man, watching the puck, and they score. And this is the second time in the last minute of the game, 2 games in a row where McDavid has been at fault on first the tying goal for Vancouver, where he got out of position and allowed Besser all kinds of time to make his shot. And on this one where he didn't cover Miller. And it's just really, again, brutal.
Pretty
I mean,
fundamental.
McDavid looked, to me, Bruce, one of the things I always marvel at is his quick cuts with the puck. I'm not seeing his ability to do that right now. And I don't know if it's because he was sick or injured or dead, tired, or a combination of all three. But there was
getting molested at every turn, which does take a toll over time too.
Yeah, there is that. He just didn't have jump tonight. He wasn't himself. He wasn't even close to himself. And he wasn't himself on that play. Usually he's been pretty good about not puck watching and covering his man coming in, looking for the danger man and getting to that man. And he will be obviously he and Ekholm will be devastated by the mistakes that they made. I'm sure they're well. Everyone knows when you make a mistake in hockey, they will be devastated by the mental errors that they made that cost their team a big game.
Well, when you have a face-off in the other team's zone, and 22 seconds later it's in your own net, you know that a few things have gone wrong, including a bad face-off loss for 1,000th time in the game. It felt like.
Every big face-off, Bruce? Like every big face-off.
Seemed like it.
On the power play, did they win a face-off on the power play?
Didn't seem like it. I know they were 8 for 26 in their own zone.
Oh, is that right?
It seemed like Vancouver would win the draw and there'd be some kind of shot within 3 or 4 seconds.
But the face-offs were close, and like it was 27 wins for Edmonton and 35 losses, so it was kind of close. But you're right, like if that's what it is,
8 to 18 in the D zone, and that's not good.
They won every face-off that didn't matter, essentially. Oh, that was really rough. That's a sad way to lose the game, but that's how it happened. All right, Bruce, your number.
Would have been a steal if they won it.
Yeah, it would have been.
Yeah. My number is Connor McDavid's line from this game, his on-ice numbers. And there's a few different ways to parse it. But I'm going to go with this one. This is all situations. So this includes like 6 minutes on the power play and 9 seconds on the penalty kill. So you'd think Edmonton, with the manpower advantage, usually in all situations, the top guys all pile up these hugely impressive totals because the power play is pounding them in. Well, McDavid, Oilers had 6 shots on net in all situations, and Vancouver had 11. 6 to 11.
That includes 6 minutes of power play time.
6 minutes of power play time. And a little bit of empty net time, and all that doesn't matter. Goals for to against 0 to 2, which is obviously the big one. High danger chances, according to Natural Stat Trick, 2 to 6. And then by our count of contributions to grade A shots, 1 for
on the power play
and early, first one of the game, and 3 against, which was the including the game-losing goal against in the last minute with a just missed assignment. And he just didn't have it, David. And I don't know if these guys were sick or if those games of playing 29 and 28 minutes and stuff just sort of, had a delayed reaction because they didn't have much in the tank. And for whatever reason, McDavid played 23 and a half minutes tonight. And you had other guys playing 9 and 11 and stuff, and their lines were actually doing okay. But you already covered that with your first bad thing. But it's a rare off night, and they're either going to have to find an answer and find it twice, or we're going to be mighty disappointed in the second round again this year.
I'm not going to be as disappointed as I was last year, honestly, because I'm more familiar with this team and its foibles and what happens, how they lose games. So it's the same narrative, and they have to fix it, and they took steps towards fixing it this year, but they're still not there yet. And until they do fully take all those steps, they're not going to win. So it just seems like it seems like there's some justice to it. So I don't feel as robbed.
I'm not feeling like they got robbed or anything tonight. I can tell you the better team won, clear as day. In fact, it should have been a 5 or 6-2 game as opposed to 3-2 by what I saw.
McDavid's one grade A contribution, Bruce, came like 80 seconds into the game, and it's when a kind of an outside shot got flukily deflected and hit the crossbar
on
the power play. So that was even lucky to get a grade A shot on that one. It turns out to be a grade A shot. It wasn't on net. Pings the crossbar, but that was it the whole game. He didn't have any kind of explosion in his stride this game. So I don't know what's going on, but
would it be harsh to say? I guess yes, it would be harsh to say. Should I say it anyway? That Philip Di Giuseppe was a more dangerous player in the context of this game, made more stuff happen around Edmonton's net than any of Edmonton's star players did around Vancouver's.
It's kind of a funny thing to say.
Well, the guy was damn dangerous. He got a goal and he had a couple other good chances. And this is a guy who's been sitting in the press box for 2 games. Well, he had some jump in his step. The Edmonton guys that have played, 200 minutes in the series don't seem to have a whole lot in the tank at this moment. It's with 2 more games in the next 96 hours, to win. Whether they'll even be 2 games, who knows? But to win, they have to play Friday and then again Sunday with a supreme effort in both games.
Yeah, like can Pickard play 3 good games in a row? It's like, oh my goodness, like it's asking so much of the guys.
Well, before actually by Sunday.
Yeah, it would have to be 4 for them to win. Stranger things have happened, Bruce. They can come back and win this.
It's still very possible, but they're sure going to have to find about 8 gears more than they had tonight.
I mean, this was the first game that Vancouver outplayed them. Every other game has been decided by goaltending, and the Oilers could have easily swept this series if they had the better goaltending from the start. They didn't, and it really hurt them. And then the 4-1 lead they had in game 1. What terrible foreshadowing that is. You can't hold that lead.
Yeah, well, they couldn't hold the lead tonight either. So
it all changes that first game at the end of the second period.
Yes, it does. That was monstrous.
When Skinner lets in that goal at the end of the second period through just a bumble on his part. Anyway, we can ruminate over that all summer long. We got lots of time to talk about that. The Oilers can come back. They have, except for this game, they've really outplayed the Canucks. If they get equal goaltending, they can still win 2 games in a row against this team. They just got to get their game back together again, and the coach has got to do some thinking as well. My number, Bruce, is number representative of the effort level in this game. It's hits. The Canucks had 42 hits, and the Oilers had 20. So more than double the number of hits from the Canucks. And that was, I would say that's indicative of lost battles throughout the game. The Canucks won twice as many battles as the Oilers in this game. They were just faster to the puck, quicker to the puck, harder to the puck. I have to give credit to Tocchet. Like, I thought that was a risky strategy, calling out passengers and ripping his players and going hard after them. They came out, though. He pushed the right buttons. Give him credit. He seemed to push the right buttons. Peterson had easily
by far his best game
Yeah,
And the
he was.
Trey Kroner line, that's an interesting wrinkle with the three Swedes. And
Yeah, they got
I
that
don't think he
line
played
going.
all game with them, but he seemed to get it going in this one for sure.
Yeah, no, they had their lines going, and good for Rick Tocchet. All right, the conundrum.
Oh yeah, just on the hits. There's an old saw that says the team that has the most hits is the team that doesn't have the puck very much. So that 42-20 for Vancouver on a night that Vancouver had the puck the whole damn game is an indictment against Edmonton. I'm sorry.
Indeed,
They got to
total
push back
indictment.
way harder than they showed tonight. They just got pushed around, pushed off the puck, and Vancouver had it and skated with it and passed it to other Canucks like you're supposed to in this game. It was
And you know who led the Oilers in hits? Dylan Holloway with 4.
he
He was
was Edmonton's best
fantastic.
player skater to me.
He was fantastic at the point covering Quinn Hughes. Like he's the one guy who's quick enough to stay with Hughes.
Hmm.
Dylan Holloway was outstanding, and I just think there has been a missed opportunity with breaking in Philip Broberg this year as well, because we might have
Hmm.
two players like that right now. But Holloway was their best player tonight, and they could really use that injection of speed that Broberg might provide. Although I didn't think Cece was particularly bad. Kulak and Cece were probably their best pairing tonight. So
Well, by shots, it was by some distance Deharnay and Nurse. I mean, when Deharnay was on the ice, the shots were 10-2 for Edmonton, but the other pairings got kind of spent too much time behind the blue line. When Ekholm was on the ice, Edmonton had one shot, one shot
wow,
in 13 minutes of even strength play, and that's playing with as Ekholm usually does, the other best player. So I wonder about his health, and I understand he's been
he's very
sick,
sick. Deharnay
and
and
that's
Nurse were really good.
believable based on the visual evidence tonight.
Yeah, Deharnay and Nurse were really good, weren't they? They maybe that's why Ekholm had to
Deharnay
get
made a
off the ice.
fantastic goal line save.
Oh, did
He
he
pulled the
ever?
puck out of the net that was appeared to be about 90% of the way over the line, and he fished it out before it got 100%.
It's just weird, eh? Because the Oilers after the first period, I thought they've got this. Like they had that late goal, comeback goal,
It's like
big goal
game
by the
five
fourth
last
line.
year, David. 2-1 Edmonton after the first period. And then the second
Yeah,
period, they crapped the bed last year and they crapped it again this year in game five. Series tied 2-2.
he just got
Not the time to
outworked.
be falling asleep.
The conundrum is, what do they do? So, do you have any thoughts? What do they got to do?
Yeah. Well,
Do you think we'll see how many new players are we going to get in the
wishful
lineup?
thinking, maybe. I sure would like to see Sam Gagner play one playoff game as a member of the
Oh,
Edmonton
he's
Oilers, and
playing.
maybe this is the time.
Yeah,
If you want, you need some kind of emotional boost at this point because they look spent. Like maybe they've given us what they got, and it's just not going to be enough.
he's
But
playing and he's scoring.
well, that'd be great. That'd be great. Um,
Carrick,
maybe. I mean, Henrique. Maybe. I mean, who do you take out to put guys in
well,
on a night where? Yeah,
they're not going to take out anyone on the fourth line.
right.
So, okay,
Maybe
so
not.
who on the third line? So the candidates are they're not taking out anyone on the top two lines. And Kane's line scored a goal. Kane scored a nice goal. Holloway was the best player. They're not taking out anyone on the top line. Nugent Hopkins didn't do much. Hyman has not done much. McDavid didn't. The top line didn't do much. They're
Tate
going to
did not
change
do
the.
much.
They're
Yeah.
changing the lines. Okay, they're not going to keep those lines together. They're going to change up the top line, the top two lines, and I don't know what they're going to do. They might reunite McDavid with Draisaitl. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that happens. Um, they're gonna so the you could take out Fogo, but he was really good on the penalty kill. Um, so I think Gagne goes in for Perry. Will be the one lineup change that'll happen. I think they're going to change up the top. I don't know what they'll do if Henrique also comes back in. Who do you take out? Vogel?
Well,
I guess
Vogel.
so.
I mean, he had one shot tonight, one hit, one penalty, no points, and he's been, over his 3 years as an Oiler, each year he's come up short in the playoffs. This is nothing new.
He was good last year in the playoffs, Bruce.
His career record in playoffs is he's been on the ice for 8 goals, 4 and 20 against over 3 years of being an Oiler, 8-20. Significantly outscored in each of the 3. Less so last year than the first and the third.
So I'm going to say
the results aren't there. Like,
yeah,
he's not a bad player, but whatever he was doing right in the regular season, it has just disappeared.
I thought he was good in the playoffs last year on a line with McLeod and Ryan. I thought that was a really good line, good checking line, and I thought he played well. But he hasn't been good this year. So for what he gives on the penalty kill, they could probably find elsewhere. So if Henrique is healthy, he'll be on the top line with McDavid and Hyman. Nuge will be bumped down to the third line with Gagner and McLeod. And the fourth line will be as is.
Yeah, well, Nuge had 4 shot attempts tonight, and they were all blocked. And at least twice I was saying, you got to let that puck go slower. You can't stop the pass, take your look, then try and zing your shot on net. You don't have the time in this league. And sure enough, there was a stick in front of the puck on both those occasions. That I thought it looked like a quick release would have been, a dangerous play. And instead, the puck never reached Artur Silovs in the Vancouver net at all because it didn't get through.
They're not sitting Nuge though.
But
he'll be on the third line, I think. Now he could be on the second line. Like they might try to pump up the third line with Holloway, McLeod, and Gagner. Now that could be a third line, but I think they'll keep Holloway is playing so well you can't take him off. I think Nuge deserves to be on the third line with McLeod and Gagner, and I think that actually might be kind of a cool line. Not really big guys, but all super skilled guys. And then Gagner is going to get in there and forecheck like crazy, and maybe he'll inspire Nuge and McLeod to do the same.
Speaking of Holloway,
yeah, go ahead.
Tonight, Oilers forward, you were talking about him covering Quinn Hughes. Tonight, Oilers forwards combined blocked 6 shots. Dylan Holloway blocked 4 of them.
He was great.
The other 11 forwards had 2, and he had 4. And he was, hustling and covering his point, which is something that other guys were struggling to do. So,
yeah, brutal. Yeah,
good on him. He's not cowed by this. I'm quite encouraged by what I'm seeing out of young Mr. Holloway in terms of his involvement and he does a lot of things right, and he gets to the right places, and he gets there pretty quick.
I'm going to we have some, I'll talk about this later anyway. Holloway, Kurt gave him a 6, man. I would have given him an 8. He was great. That was a great game.
7 at least.
Yeah, I thought he was, like I said, what popped out of my mouth was he was great, and he was, I thought so. All right, Bruce, leave it there. Any other thoughts?
Any more Conundrum? You stick with Pickard, eh?
Oh, yeah.
Right? He did make a lot of saves tonight.
Oh, yeah. There's just no doubt about it. Stuart Skinner, Bruce, he was terrible. If I'm honest, he was terrible. And you can't, it's when a goalie's had a game like Pickard, you take him out for a goalie who's been playing and Skinner was really great at times in the regular season for a month on end, right? He was great at times, but he has not come close to getting it done in the playoffs against Vancouver. So no, I don't think it's just the easiest choice in the world. It's just, no, the only thing you'd be worried about is Pickard's super tired. He was very, very busy, and it
was his first back-to-back of the year. So
first back-to-back in the NHL in forever. So
since he was with Colorado, no doubt.
Yeah. I think Jack Michaels said it was since 2021, but I'm not exactly sure about that. All righty, Bruce. I can't think of any other conundrum at this point. So
No, where do you find the power pill for the Stars to regain their shine?
Well, they'll be riding on the roar of the crowd in Edmonton. Maybe that'll help, eh? Okay. Bruce, thanks for
Saturday.
talking tonight. Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.